beyond ideas of right and wrongdoing. There is a field, a singing field. I'll meet you there.
Beyond ideas of right and wrongdoing, there is a field, a
beyond ideas of right and wrongdoing. There is a field, a singing field. I'll meet you there.
Beyond ideas of right and wrongdoing, there is a field, a singing
Well, greetings, everyone, and welcome to a special online event today. It's called Give Voice to Your Truth. Experience the Octave of Consciousness to access your inner authority and cultivate healing. My name is Stephen Dinant. I'm the founder and CEO of the Shift Network, and I'm really delighted to be with you here, getting to explore some of the further reaches of our voice's power to uplift, transform, and heal us on multiple levels. We're going to get to do this with a remarkable teacher, musician, pioneer in this work. Her name is Chloë Goodchild. She's taught quite a number of programs for Shift in the past, always beloved by her students. She's an international voice pioneer, an author, a singer, and founder of The Naked Voice, and she's coming to us from the beautiful English countryside now. So thank you so much for joining us here today, Chloë.
Great. It's lovely to be here. Great to see you, Stephen.
Great. Well, I know you've got some fun stuff planned for us today, and I also wanted to let people know up front that we're going to have a chance to go deeper with Chloë in a brand new program all about vocal alchemy. So this is going to be a really cool program. We'll share more about that towards the end of the hour. So Chloë, let's begin our journey today. We've talked about different aspects of your journey, but this aspect of giving voice to your truth is like basically how does our voice become the catalyst for birthing more of ourselves into the world in the form of our truth? And maybe share a little bit about your journey with that.
So for me, the voice is the central dimension of this spiritual practice. But more and more recently, I've been having to really explore how the spirit of the voice, the science of the voice as a healing principle, and sound itself as the ground of consciousness is all coming together. All these dimensions of sound and science and spirituality are all collapsing and coalescing, coming together. And what were originally separate languages, if you like, in the field of religion and Newtonian science and singing as performance, now we're looking at how sound, and specifically in my case, the voice itself, really can awaken all dimensions of the human soul. So it means thinking, really, what does your voice mean to you? Okay. And how does your voice express itself in the world? Right? So this is terribly important. And for me, there have always been three questions running through my life, which is partly why I call myself a singing philosopher these days, because self-inquiry is a really essential part of this journey with the voice. So every day I ask myself, who am I? Why am I here? And what is mine to express? So these three core questions, I can pick those up on any level. I can pick them up as a physical and respond to those questions physically. Who am I as a physical body? Why am I here? How is my voice expressing itself in the world? And what is this voice? We've been brought up to believe that the voice is, in many ways, a kind of a performance vehicle, and am I expressing myself well enough? Am I impressing you? Am I entertaining you? And rather than, where is this voice coming from? What is its role in helping me to make ethical, to make responsible, to make practical, to make really humane decisions in my life at every level imaginable? All my life, I started out as quite a stubborn child, and I was questioning everything from the word go. And obviously, I will have shared in previous Shift meetings that I started out my life between the ages of 3 and 7. I had challenging traumatic surgery on my ears, and this created deafness for a period of time. And it was out of that deafness that I started to really question this sound of mine, and sound itself in all its forms. And music really came to my rescue when the hearing came back, and I was being required to really learn at a much older age, really to learn how to be, how to connect socially with people. So I was very shy. I was very empathic, very introverted, but it was absolutely clear as a bell to me that music was everything. Music was everything. And music as a choral phenomenon at that time. And music really assisted me to feel the field of life and love in all its forms. And so I joined choirs. I sang in these choral fields for many, many years, right through my teenage years. And as I was moving through this educational process, this upbringing process, I found myself really assailed by deeper and deeper questions. These early life experiences really gave me a very deep connection with sound and with the voice, and with the power of the voice to realize the power of the voice as the compass, as the conduit, as the conductor of the soul, of the human soul. It's from there that I started exploring world music. I started traveling to indigenous cultures and to India, to the Middle East. I was blessed to work with the Blackfeet, the Pigani, up in the northern areas of Montana. And it was really in these incredible, unified, interconnected communities where ancient and sacred wisdom of sound was fully at the center of these people's lives that I started to realize I was coming home to the truth of what the voice, the human voice, is capable of. And all of these different communities of sound, if you like, they all had one thing in common, which is the unchanging note. This awareness of a sound, which I now call the ground of consciousness. And to my left down here, you will hear the sound of a harmonium. The harmonium, a little portable keyboard. And I love it so much because it just enables me to hear that unchanging sound, which is really a metaphor for sound as the ground of consciousness. And so it was from this understanding and also a very profound experience in India in the early 90s that I started really investigating the spiritual nature of the human voice and how to bring that back from India to the West in a whole new system of listening and expressing that would be available to everyone, not just elitist trained singers or musicians, but absolutely everyone. Sound is our ground. It gave birth to us. Every single cell in the body is made of sound. And so it's to this sound that every day I express my gratitude, and to the source from whence the sound of my own voice, our own voice, the unified field of voices that is the human planetary mind, where this comes from. Beloved source, by your grace, I am alive. Beloved source, by join me. By your grace, we are alive. So what this comes down to really is a journey of grace and gradual revelation. It's a journey of love.
Well, there's a lot to unpack on all that, and really beautiful, the devotional singing you were doing a little bit of there. So when you're kind of implying with the your note or the unchanging note that there's sort of a unique vibrational signature that each of us has that maybe gets covered up or distorted by the patterning or the messaging we get and shutting down our voice. And for those of us who still have a lot of stuff that we're working through around that kind of cultural conditioning or familial patterning, how do you start to find that signature note, that vibrational essence, and start to open the portal to this deeper awareness through that?
That's such a great question, Stephen, because for many of us, we have this we're absolutely inhabited by vocal shame and narratives of blame and, really negative stories around our relationship with silence itself is a negative experience for many of us. Silence is the absence of sound. It's being told to shut up, to be quiet, and all of those early stories we might have had as children. So to actually consider what it means to find your authentic voice, and of course, the work with John Stuart Reid and so on has been revealing to many of us how each of us has a completely unique DNA signature sound, and each of us has an utterly unique voice. And that's the piece that's been forgotten. No one told us that, and also we're brought up very much with the left side of the brain. So we're brought up with this idea that, speaking is actually the main language for communication. Singing is a separate activity that a kind of minority of elite trained musicians over there would be learning. And then we would go to a performance where singing is happening, or generally a performative experience of singing. So for many of us, it's like we just forget it. I'm not going there, but we've been brought up with this kind of, left brain disjunction and dysfunction. And so what I started to find with individuals was that if you simply just ask the question, how do you feel? How do you feel? How does that sound? Okay. And what quality of silence does that voice of yours leave behind? So this is a very simple, utterly simple way in. You might be having this conversation with a little child and expecting that to be an easy thing with a child because the wonder is still there, the excitement, the adventure of simply expressing oneself is still there. As an adult, it can be just really quite daunting, and it would be a lot of fun if today we can explore through the elemental chakras of the human body, just a little bit more closely what this voice of ours is all about. Okay, so I'd love you now to join me in a energy movement practice with sound to really experience what I've come to call the Octave of Consciousness. First of all, I just invite everybody just to bring your hands together and to just make a fire with your hands and just let that go right up above your head, and then just shake some light out all around you, and then just let the hands drop, just breathing in, lift the hands up, and then coming down. And breathing in and in and that's great. That's great. Now, if we may, what we're going to do is to really explore your voice as it lives in every single cell of your body, okay? And that involves taking this journey through what we call the octave of consciousness. So you may have heard of the word, you'll be aware of the octave as meaning the number 8. And in musical terminology, it's used a lot in the West as the octave, the musical octave, you know, from the home note, right up to the next version of itself, an octave higher. And that it can then be translated and experienced, which is what I started to receive in India and then deepened into it when I came back to England, into the chakra system. And so let's head there right now. So I'm going to stand up and just invite you to shake your body around a little bit. And just have a good shake of the body, opening up the shoulders backwards and forwards. Yep, great. And then just swinging from side to side, just really opening up the whole body field. Great. Okay. So what we're going to be exploring here, first of all, is how we integrate the 3 power centers. So the belly, the instinctual, the realm of the instinctual will, the heart center, the realm of the intuitive will, and the pineal gland, the realm of the insightful will. Okay. And if you like, you could simplify that into my will, thy will, and that will. So as the crown. So we're coming down, and I'm just going to invite you to come with me on a journey from the root chakra into the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, the back of the head, and the 8th, the octave. And so by the end of this experience, we will have basically internalized and brought a musicality of ego, soul, and spirit into every single cell in the body. So that starts, if you like, we're going to start at the root chakra, and we're just going to start to begin with bringing your right hand around the left thumb. So these mudras help us just to really embody our sound and just to forget any kind of negativity that there may exist, to really bring your awareness right down into the root chakra. Have your feet together and just bring your awareness right down into the middle of the feet, and take your awareness on down 1,000 miles down into the earth. Now we're just going to explore some, as we take this journey from the root chakra into the 2nd and right up to the 8th. We're going to accompany this journey with some very simple affirmations with these mudras, hand mudras, energy movements that also help us to embody our sound. So this first mudra, the affirmation is I am. And just let yourself say that I am. Then just let yourself open your eyes into the second chakra, eye open. So just be aware now of your hands, like laser beams, your fingers. And this mudra is called spreading light. The awareness is right here in the pelvis, moving up into the solar plexus, gathering energy. Imagining you're sitting on a horse. I will. And just enjoy that again to really feel that third chakra, I will. And again, I will. And then take the awareness back down into I open, and back down to I am. And you can just do that silently as well. And just keeping the focus on the first three chakras, the realm of my will, my will. And we also refer to these three chakras as different locations of love. So the first one, source of love. The second one, sexual creative love. The third one, intentional, instinctual love. And so if you like, this is the whole territory of the nervous system, of the egoic mind, and, you know, all of the energy that exists here is something that is to be nourished, is to be taken care of, is to be really nurtured and strengthened to create a really healthy ego that can then move into the heart. I offer. So the awareness now is in the center of the chest. I offer. This is devotional love, opening out into the throat chakra. I share. And this mudra is called brightening the whole world. And so you're receiving light from the sky. I share. And that then translates, moves on up into an awareness of the third eye, right here. I serve. Moving on into the seventh, the back of the head, the awareness of the back of the head. And the hands are here, are pointing towards the sky, called pointing towards heaven. And the awareness is back here. I surrender. Moving into I love. I love. So this mudra is basically opening to the whole cosmos. You're bringing that back down. I surrender. I serve. I share. I give. I will. I open. I am. So these are energetic movements that invite our voice to come in at a whole new level as a field of energy that is both within the body and beyond the body. So as you can see, these energy movements, you can actually simply explore them in silence. And you start to become aware of the field of energy into which the voice and through which the voice and sound of your own consciousness moves. So I wonder if we may, I would love to move just to actually share the little map with you that will help to take this a bit deeper.
Yeah, let's bring up the map and so we can kind of understand conceptually what you're doing there. And wonder, it's powerful, this anchoring our voice into each center like that with an affirmation and sort of a declaration. Maybe talk a little bit about what happens as we do that. And do we also layer in sort of more musical kind of toning practice as well with that?
Exactly. Yeah, that's what happens next, because what we're now going to really experience is the sounds of the different chakras as an octave of consciousness. So with these movements, we're moving through this octave, this journey of 7 domains, 7 locations of consciousness, 7 locations of love. So let's, if we may, bring that map up. Can we do that? So I'm just choosing this note of A, which is the A below middle C. Don't worry about trying to understand why I might have done that. It's a note that I love, basically, and I'll explain more about that later. But here we are. If you actually can see now here in the map that we have the whole octave of consciousness there. In India, they talk about the journey from the root to the crown as music with specific musical mantras. So, sa, and you'll see that on the left-hand side of the document. Sa in the root chakra, moving into the second chakra. Re, moving into the third. Ga, first 3 notes, the first 3 notes of the my will, of the solar plexus, the first energy center, power center. Sa, see the movements that we've just shared on the right hand side there. Sa, re, ga. So we're moving there through 3 locations of love, if you like, the source of love. Sexual creative love, Re, in instinctual love in Ga, the third chakra. Moving on up. Ma, into the heart center, into the throat. Pa, up into the third eye. Top of the octave, the crown. Sa. And then you can bring those down, coming down from the top. Sa. So that is a journey taking you from the root chakra right through the body. And you can move through it silently. You can move through it with the energy movements. You can move through it with the affirmations. You can move through it with the locations of love. It all ends up in the same place. And the voice, if you like, is the compass. It's the conductor, and it's the messenger of love.
Well, thank you for that. It's really beautiful that I was sounding alongside with you, and it just, you can really feel the vibrations kind of lift through each center and start to create more of a column of energy, really, that anchors us into this plane in a deeper way.
It's very powerful, isn't it? It really is. Yeah, it's very, very powerful. And of course, what that does, the anchoring is so important because, you know, we've been brought up with this idea, unless we were blessed to be brought up in a much more indigenous, aware community of sound, where sound is still so integral to everyday life, you know, from worship to working in the fields to, you know, to singing around the table while you're eating. We've been really brought up to believe, you know, that the voice is just something that comes out of the mouth, and it for many is a self-conscious experience. And so what we're doing here really is just opening up this awareness of the voice as the whole self. The voice is the, it is the messenger and muscle of the soul. And what we're also exploring is just the majesty of the human body, how the body itself it gives us all this information, you know, about the consciousness that we walk about in, you know. And I always remember one of my Indian vocal teachers saying to me, Chloe, in England, in the West, they say ouch. In India, we say Aum, which I always loved, you know, because it was that idea of how we can shift just through sound itself. We can shift what we might it might be experiencing as pain or suffering into something other than itself. And so the Aum itself, really, it's known as the great mantra of mantras. It incorporates all human feeling and so on.
I imagine that sort of that Aum principle of the Aum, like of transmuting something that is painful, is also very applicable to all of these other layers of patterning that we might have around being shut down or being suppressed or having our voice judged in different ways. And so maybe share a little bit more about just how do you kind of like work with and alchemize those patterns and wounds and challenges as they surface and as you practice with the voice.
Well, Stephen, it's blown my mind, actually, how powerful the voice is and how potent the voice is, as I don't know, it's just this medicinal teacher, because even the most, what I've discovered over the years, that even the most traumatic sound and experience of life has its own music. And that music is always accompanied by its antidote. It's really, really interesting. I discovered this for myself when one day I was really having a hard time. And I just thought, right, okay, I'm just going to really explore, really practice what I preach. I'm just going to how do you feel and how does that sound? And the feeling was, if you like, it was, it's just as soon as somebody says to me, how do you, when I ask somebody how they feel and they say, well, I just really don't feel great. And you say, well, how's that sound? And it tends to be, and we don't think of that as music because we're just going, or we're expressing the feeling, but we don't think of that as having the potential to actually turn on itself and to transform itself into its antidote. So, if you actually explore that more deeply, you say, okay, let's just keep following that. Let's just see what this lower state, this unhappiness may feel like. You don't have to think. No one has to think. That all those sounds are in there. You don't have to be a musician. You don't have to have trained for hundreds of years to be able to just let the feeling musicate the soul. So, if you actually just use this practice of how do you feel? Okay, now we're sounding it more deeply, we're really following where that sound is taking us. But we're also asking, what quality of silence does that leave behind? And there's something about, if you just go, I feel really, I really had enough. It's all too crazy what's going on in the world. I've had enough. It's no good. It's all, but there's no silence there. It's all about what the egoic mind is doing with its own issues. If you actually bring the silence in, and just slow the whole thing down, just take a little piece of that emotional energy. Listen to it. Wow. That was a minor third. That was. What is this? What is this feeling? So as soon as you're starting to inquire, to really question, who is this? Where is this sound coming from? You're then finding yourself supported by the silence and the reflectivity to go deeper in to the question. And then before you know it, you're actually just witnessing yourself having an experience that's being expressed through sound. And that could be, oh, or it could be, oh, you know, it could be, ah, you know, or it could be, But whatever the sound is, you start realizing it is just sound. If I actually take away the imposition of the egoic mind and listen to sound as sound, and then just ask myself, what quality of silence is that sound leaving behind? I start going behind, beneath, underneath the original reactive expression. And I start hearing the music of my own soul. So I'm shifting from an egoic relationship with emotion to a more soulful connection with a much deeper state of soul, a deeper feeling. And it's that feeling that really is it really seals in this new engagement with the voice. And the voice, you start to realize, God Almighty, this voice is in service to something. Maybe I'm longing for something I just cannot name anymore. You know.
Beautiful, Chloë. There's so much that you're unpacking and sharing and touching in us with this. And well, Chloë, it's just you're such a delight to be with, and I just love the way you play and flow and open and really follow the energy to new insights and possibilities. And I know that we're in for a treat to have a brand new program with you, so I want to spend a little time sharing about that. So Chloë has partnered with us to create a brand new program. It's called
Open Your True Voice. Awaken your inner authority and access the field of love through vocal alchemy with your unique sound signature.
You can see it laid out in detail at expressyourtruevoice.com, expressyourtruevoice.com. And it is a 7-week program. There are no prerequisites. You don't have to sort of consider yourself a singer in any way. It's really about opening this channel for transformation of yourself and really unveiling the authenticity of who you are. We found this is so powerful. I've actually started voice lessons myself. I had similar kind of cultural conditioning, and starting to open that channel has really been a blessing for me. And I know that Chloë, it just creates a really fun, non-judgmental, evocative atmosphere that really creates an access point for you to connect with the deeper spiritual dimensions of your voice and your authenticity. So again, you can find all the details at expressyourtruevoice.com. And Chloë, I'd love for you to share in your own words about vocal alchemy of this program, and I'll read out the module title so you give us a preview of what's coming in each.
Brilliant. Yeah. Well, I am so excited to be sharing this new program, because particularly at this time in the world where people are just really so at a loss, so many people feel at a loss as to how to engage with the chaos of what's going on in the world. And so it's ever more important that we become totally 100% present to our authentic voice, so that the voice of our conscience, of our compassion, of our cooperation, collaboration, and coherence can all really come together, as one, you know, within the unchanging note of one's true voice. So I'm just really, really excited to have this time to share with you this journey that is going to take you through to an totally authentic expression and embodiment of your own sound and your voice, and how to really navigate the kind of communications and conversations and to really access the subterranean truth of who you are at this time. All of us chose to be here at this extraordinary time on earth, and it really is our responsibility, every bit as much as our sort of ethical and emotional consciousness, to address and to engage, fearlessly, compassionately engage. So that's just a few little things why I'm inspired to share this with you.
Beautiful. I do want to get a little bit of highlight of each module. Module 1, sounding from source, breathe life into your unique voice.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that really that we start with the unchanging note there. We're starting there with how we actually go about really returning home to ourselves through and really accessing this original language of silence that is at the source of your authentic voice. And so learning how to engage with the witnessing, the self-observing mind, so that you can really start to stand in the presence of your true sound.
Module 2, expressing the unspoken, surrender to the ebb and flow of sensuality to release, liberate, and welcome your full expression.
Yeah, absolutely. The physicality. This is really coming in with the second chakra. There's so many when I sometimes ask people just literally as a practice to just say something that you would never imagine yourself to speak in public. Just something, and it is incredible how liberating that is. To speak the unspoken, to express the unspoken. And then you realize that, in fact, not only are you expressing the unspoken, you're surrounded by everybody else who's feeling similar or complementary feelings of that nature. And it's very, very empowering. And of course, the connection with the animal body is so important for grounding your sound, liberating it, and welcoming your full expression.
Module 3, sounding the healing fire of intention, nourish and strengthen your instinctual core wisdom with your empowering rhythms of your soul.
Yeah, well, without intention, nothing is possible. I always remember the wonderful Jonathan Goldman saying that intention and frequency equals healing. And there's no question about that. That's absolutely the truth. And so here we are really galvanizing, energizing, nourishing, and healing, particularly the solar plexus energy. That's really where the intention can either be hidden, lost, or forgotten. And without that intention, nothing is possible. So we're nourishing and strengthening the instinctual core wisdom. And it is a wisdom. It's the wisdom of the fireplace for the tribe. So very important there. And of course, rhythm comes in there. We're going to be working with vocal rhythms, different vocal rhythms, to assist you to become much more present to time itself, to the role that time plays within the music of your soul.
Module 4, arousing your intuitive heart, awaken your wisdom voice, strengthen empathy, and embrace grief through the devotional music of longing.
Yeah, well, that is a very, very beautiful. I mean, the heart itself, as we all know so well, the whole of the Shift network is absolutely permeated with the intuitive heart. It's the driving force, if you like. But for many of us, of course, the heart is in sorrow, or it's in grief of one kind or another. It's very important that the heart, which is the most mighty brain in the body, as we know so well, that it is given the opportunity to remember itself. And that means awakening the wisdom of empathy and embracing and transforming the music of your grief into the devotional music of longing. Very often loss, death, fear, all of these very powerful, primal feelings can still be offered up into the heart, and they're still there as grief. And therefore, the devotional music just pours healing balm. It just brings a healing balm. And the longing is the gateway there of the human voice.
Beautiful. Module 5, standing in the presence. Listen deeply to the inner music of your soul for radical self-acceptance.
Yeah, well, this module really is a deepening of where we started in module 1, standing in the presence. So this is where you're really starting to become aware of the potency of the language of silence itself, and of the voice as a field of energy. And in our work, we really refer to that often as the presence. And we have practices where you just literally learn to stand silently in the presence as your attention to the inner music of your soul starts to really bubble up at a whole new level. And radical self-acceptance is absolutely key here, because without that, there's no possibility of evolution, if you like. We have to completely and totally, unconditionally accept every aspect of who we are. And that involves real connection and embodiment of the original sound of yourself, the DNA sound of you. And that inner music is incredibly nourishing for the soul. It's the inner music of the soul. And so we're starting to move into a more mystical languaging of the voice here too, where we're starting to really open the door on as we move from the power centers, the first two power centers, into the third, fourth, and fifth power centers. We then start to move into the sixth, up into the third eye, the pineal gland.
Module 6, liberating your sovereign voice. Awaken your compassionate mind to receive and transmit new frequencies of love.
Well, there we are. So this is absolutely the new world, if you like, that many of us are already experiencing ourselves, standing and opening as we become more courageous with this self-expression, with the expression of the voice itself, and with the healing process and the journey. And we start to realize that we're standing in this field of presence through radical self-acceptance. A liberation starts to be received. We become aware of it as a receiving, as we spoke of at the very beginning. The sovereignty of the voice is now returning, and it's like so many layers, old narrative layers have come down, so that we are in a position now to really stand in the luminosity of our truth, and that is the messenger, is the sovereign voice. Interesting how the word sovereign is being used very, very much here in our time, and how important that we resacralize that word, the sovereign voice. And we're awakening now into depths of communication which are inspired and awakened through compassionate awareness.
And finally, Module 7, giving voice to truth. Embody your whole voice as the mouthpiece and messenger of your life's true purpose.
Well, that really speaks for itself. Giving voice to truth. Yes, and embodying your whole voice as the mouthpiece and messenger of your life's true purpose. That is it. That's where we're heading. That's what it's all about.
Again, it's laid out in detail at expressyourtruevoice.com. So Chloe's given some of the highlights from the 7 modules. There's also more detail on the page at Express Your True Voice. In addition, on the page, you'll see a number of other dimensions about the course. You get not only the live sessions, you get recordings, video, and audio. You can have time to ask your questions of Chloe. You have word-for-word transcripts. You have small group time to practice with other participants. A community around this work, which is really powerful, what people share. It's also weekly exercise for home. And on the page, you'll see a number of extra bonuses to enhance your journey. There's the Eternal Sound Series, Eternal A, C, D, E, F, G, the 6 audio downloads from Chloe. These are 42 minutes each. In addition, on the page, you'll see there's a memoir PDF from Chloe called A Soul in the Making. Very exciting to have that included as well. And there's a special bonus you get when you sign up by midnight tonight Pacific time. This is an audio album from Chloe called Fierce Wisdom, which I just love that term. So Chloe, you want to share a little bit about that special bonus folks get when they sign up right away?
Well, that album to me is like, if I was to die tomorrow, I'd be very happy I'd made that album, Stephen. For me, it really is a response to the call for wisdom in these times. And it's an album that I made with great love over many weeks and months. And it ended up being premiered in the Royal Opera House in London when we were exploring with issues of peace and conflict with leaders from different countries and so on. It was an extraordinary moment to share, and also for me to see how music can be such an extraordinary ground for conversations, where transformative conversation and transformative action.
Beautiful. Well, it's going to be an amazing program. And I know people feel so blessed every time they take a journey like this with you. We've kept the investment really accessible for the program. It's just 3 payments of $128. So you save 10% and you pay in full with 1 payment of $349. The course is going to start on June 7th and run Wednesdays at 9 Pacific, noon Eastern. And I really encourage you to go to the page at expressyourtruevoice.com, and read through the whole page. Tune in about yourself, what's really up in your journey right now, where this can benefit you, and also read through the testimonials, since there's some great testimonials about Chloe's brilliance, her depth of mastery of the whole territory, her mystical transmissions, and really just how powerful the techniques are to liberate more of you in your voice, which is really about how we show up in the world. And when we can liberate more of ourselves, we show up with more of our full soul in the world. And that's how we bring the greatest blessings to every dimension of our life. So you really get a feeling for that from the testimonials, and you can get a sense for the different bonuses as well as the full modules there as well. I know you'd also wanted to share sort of an anthem to sort of like sum this all up in a way that sort of helps us feel that sense of interconnection and the kind of sovereignty that we've cultivated. So let's do that before we then talk a bit about how people can go further with you.
Great. Well, Stephen, the anthem that I'd love to share with you is really my it's an anthem which came to me when I was touring, actually, with the Rumi poet Coleman Barks, and his poem of the field, which speaks mountains and has entered many households, thousands of millions of households by now, as an extraordinary metaphor for the human voice, for the field out beyond ideas of right and wrongdoing. There is a field. I'll meet you there. And when I first heard him recite that poem, and he said, you just sing to it. You sing and I'll just recite the poem and you sing to it. And I just, wow, I just suddenly heard this melody line came, and I said, is it okay if I just insert the word singing in there? Singing in with field. Because then I suddenly could feel the whole of my body and the whole of the wider field of myself, the whole self, the sound of consciousness that I am as a field, a quantum field, some call it. And he said, well, just do what the hell you like. So with his permission, I produced this anthem, which takes us really, encapsulates where we've been traveling in the last few minutes. Out beyond ideas of right and wrongdoing, there is a field, a singing field. brings us back to the one unchanging note.
Well, what an uplifting and beautiful anthem that summarizes so much of what you've shared today and really offers that integrative activation of our energy system through our voice. Beautiful. So, Chloë, we are so blessed to be working with you, playing with you, expanding with you, and this time together has been a delight. And any final thoughts for folks who are considering going deeper with you on this journey?
Well, I would just really encourage people, Stephen, just to go for it, to really see this as an opportunity and a moment where you can come together with people from all around the world to explore not only your voice, but you'll have a chance to work within the whole group as well as within small groups. You'll have the opportunity to really meet people from different languages and different parts of the world, different cultures, who are all exploring this same theme. And it's as if this is a time when the singing field, we need to come together as a singing field. So to realize that you're not alone, you're not alone in this journey, and that it's very important to align yourself with others who are courageous enough to be exploring and accessing and manifesting and expressing their own authentic voice at this time. Couldn't be more important than anything as far as I can see. So welcome all and everyone. And you have, as Stephen said earlier, you don't need to have any kind of quote musical experience whatsoever. Just come with full heart, mind, and soul wide open.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, Chloë, so much. And thank you for offering.
Open your true voice, awaken your inner authority, and access the field of love through your vocal alchemy with your unique sound signature.
And I know people are going to be blessed if they choose to join you. So, and when you do, you get that special bonus, that Fierce Wisdom album, when you sign up by midnight tonight. So thank you all. And thank you, Chloë. Many blessings.
Thank you. Thank you, Shift. God bless. Thank you.
Beyond ideas of right and wrongdoing, there is a field, a singing field. I'll meet you there.
Beyond ideas of right and wrongdoing, there is a field, a singing